Hi, this is Spencer McGannon with CRCO. We're here today with Benjamin Lyng, State Senate candidate for District 4 here in Colorado. How are you doing today, Ben?
Doing great, Spencer. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So I live in Castle Pines with my wife, Michelle, my 2-year-old son, Andrew, and a very hyperactive little furball named Buckley. I grew up in a small town outside of Baltimore. Today, it's about the same size as Castle Rock is. A pretty crazy childhood, both good and bad. Probably the most transformative thing that ever happened to me in my life occurred when I was just 7 years old. And that was, for 2 years, I saw my mother suffer and then pass away from cancer. And when a boy loses his mom, probably the person who loves him more than anyone else in the world does, a lot of things happen. And for me, what became manifest from that experience was a strong appreciation for family and for life, because I realized how fragile it was. And those things are really kind of the core of what I am and the core of this campaign. I don't want to be a downer. I did have a very fun childhood. The terminology they would use for me today would be free range. Back then I was a latchkey kid, which means I would come home from school, let myself in, and occupy my own time between when I got home and when my parents got home for dinner. And there was mountains of research done on this phenomenon. Most of it, I think, said would damage kids psychologically. In retrospect, I just think it was a lot of fun. You know, I never had a job where I worked for an hourly wage at a store or a restaurant. I always kind of did my own thing. I cut grass, I shoveled snow, I cross-sold to a lot of those clients. I sold baseball cards, I sold autographs. And I think through this experience, I really developed a love for the deal, for entrepreneurism, for business. I went to school to study accounting, and I got an accounting degree. But while I was at school, I became involved in ROTC, and that's how I got into the military. And I cannot think of a better opportunity for a young man or woman today than to start their career in service to the nation. Because there are very few places in the private sector where you can get that leadership experience, boots on the ground experience that the military gives you. You create friends, you create camaraderie, friends for life. And every day you go in there, you get the chance to challenge yourself mentally and physically. It was awesome. And I got to be an explosive ordnance disposal soldier. Wow. That meant we destroyed roadside bombs and weapons caches. That's what my unit was responsible for doing in Afghanistan. I was also in a Patriot missile battalion for a while, which was a lot of fun as well. But I never intended to be in the military for my entire career. I applied to business school and went to Cornell. My timing was really good. I applied from a combat zone. The war was still sexy then. I did something moderately interesting, so I got into a lot of places. Cornell gave me a full ride. That's how I ended up there. For substantially my entire career after that, I've worked in the banking industry, which has been a very rewarding career, and I've had a lot of fun meeting interesting people and solving problems.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Sure.
Tell us exactly, why are you running?
Sure. So I'm running for state senate because I want to fight for conservative values. The Second Amendment, our families, our small businesses. These are all things that are really important to me. And with my leadership experience and my business experience, I really think I bring that skill set to the table to be a really strong and effective advocate for those issues. That's why I'm running.
Great, thank you very much.
Sure.
What would you say differentiates you from the other candidates running for District 4?
Sure. That's a really good question, Spencer. There's not a lot of daylight on the issues between all the candidates. We're all pretty conservative. But what this election is about leadership. And who has the leadership experience to stand and deliver from day one in the state senate for people in Douglas County? And for almost 2 decades, I have sought out challenging leadership roles that prepared me for this next step. D1 scholarship athlete, team captain, platoon leader, company commander at war, trusted advisor to CEOs and boards of directors. And I've fought every day to put myself in those positions where I can have a positive impact on the people around me. And I'm going to fight for families, I'm going to fight for everyone in Douglas County and have the opportunity to serve the state senate.
So tell us exactly, what are the top issues on your platform, and where can people find out more information?
Sure. I've talked to a lot of people on the campaign trail, and it seems like the same issues are coming up time and time again. They're the same issues that compel me to run. The Second Amendment. We need to completely repeal the unconstitutional gun control legislation that was passed a few years ago. We cannot compromise on that. Runaway government. We have to protect Tabor at all costs. Why is it that families in Douglas County have to prioritize their spending every month, but the government doesn't have to? You know, we have a governor who prioritizes pet projects like bike lanes and bus transportation in Colorado Springs over the essential functions of government. You know, These are a lot of issues, but really they all boil down to one central theme of my campaign that you can learn about on benforcolorado.com. And that theme is setting the conditions for prosperity and opportunity. Opportunity for people who live in our county right now, and opportunity for people who have workforce. Thanks a lot, Spencer.
Thank you, Ben. Again, this is Spencer with CRCO. We're here with Benjamin Lyng, State Senate candidate for District 4 in Colorado.